And we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody to Marketing Adventures with Carmel. So if you're watching this on social media, remember, please give us a thumbs up, a heart, or something similar. And if you have any questions as we go through this, even if you're watching it after the live, put your questions underneath and make sure you tag myself or my amazing guest, who I'll tell you all about in a moment. And we'll get back to you and answer those questions. If you are watching this on YouTube, please make sure and hit that subscribe button and of course the little bell, so you'll be alerted every time we bring some amazing people on here. So we're going to interview some, and this is what we do, interview some real and inspiring business builders and exceptional entrepreneurs who've often overcome some hurdles that I know you're going through at times as well, or maybe you've already been through some of them. But these guests that have been so fortunate to be able to interview have gold to share with us, you know, things that they've got that get over it. It's only by being in the moment and stuffing up yourself that you get over some of these things. So why reinvent the wheel, right? So when you can learn from others. So during these interviews, we share tips, tricks, insights, all about marketing and how to use it within that person's expertise. So I'm Carmel, your host, and I was going to say your ghost. And my guest today is Hannah Cremona. I hope I have pronounced that correctly. Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you so much, Carmel. Pleasure to be here.
It's awesome to have you. So let me introduce you properly. First and foremost, Hannah is originally from Malta and she's coming to us live from Kathmandu. So the world is getting such a smaller place. So Hannah is a marketing strategy and a mindset coach, helping others embody marketing as a practice to attract clients online without selling their soul. And I love that part of it. So we'll dig a bit deeper into without selling your soul, because quite often you feel like you're selling your soul in order to get clients. Hannah believes that we all have a message to share. Life's too short to play small, and there's never been a more pressing time to support others in their well-being and health than right now, especially over the last couple of years. Her career in marketing and business development started at a very young age. Hannah's experience vastly ranges from in-field to management and corporate marketing, having successfully launched a wide range of healthcare products in Malta. So again, we're going to dig more into that. Now, I could tell you a lot more about Hannah, but I'm going to dig into, let Hannah tell her own story a little bit more. So over the last two years, I think it is, Hannah, she dedicates her time in business strategy to coaches and healers in particular in that well-being area for entrepreneurs, where she can add her skills into it in a complementary way. So again, you don't feel like you're selling your soul. So Hannah, I'm sure I haven't done you enough credit, but welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction.
My pleasure. It's awesome to have you here. So look, before we get into getting into some of the awesome value you're going to share, give us a little bit of insight into a bit more of your journey and why you decided to do marketing and not something else.
Yeah. So as you mentioned in my introduction, my background is in business and marketing since I was 16, officially 18, but it was even 14, I think, if we're allowed to say that now.
Well, who's going to know?
Child labor. But yes, I was very passionate. When it came to a moment where I was sort of misaligned with the industry and I wanted to cut off and just start my life from scratch, basically, and write my own story. And this got me to Nepal, actually, where I dedicated a lot of time to social enterprise and volunteering and setting up my micro enterprises. Eventually, basically when the money started drying up after volunteering for a while, I moved into social media marketing, helping out small organizations, especially in the sustainable and ethical brands here in Nepal and online. And this took me down, like this got me onto the freelance world, which was amazing because it got me to sharpen up my skills again in the online space, because I had been away from that for a while. And as you know, the online space changes so rapidly. It's always growing and changing.
Just don't close your eyes.
Exactly. So it was a really weird process of like, oh, I kind of forgot how to do all of this. But it quickly came back, and I helped some brands increase their reach and redefine their branding, basically, and their presence in the online, which took me then on a new journey that I never thought I'd go on, and that's of blogging and influencer marketing. I started a blog called Naturally Hannah, which is all about like sustainable and ethical living, right? Natural wellness. It was a topic that I was particularly interested in. And again, this was all about, how do I build my brand? How do I get my stuff out there? How do I inform and educate people along the way? And as one does, slowly you start thinking, okay, how can I monetize this? How am I going to make a living out of this?
Well, one cannot live on fresh air alone. Yes.
And so this is where the influencer Instagram marketing started coming up, because I was gaining quite an audience and some following. And so I decided to do some brand collaborations, etc. It was one December, I think, when I hosted a giveaway on my Instagram, and I sent it over to my friends in our WhatsApp chat, like, please, can you give this post some loving, and hey, maybe one of you actually get to win this thing, right? I think it was a really awesome giveaway. I think it was some sort of trip to Bali or something.
Oh, wow.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
However, one of my friends said something to me, and this really triggered the crap out of me, and I'm going to tell you this. She said, like, I'm not like liking this type of sort of gimmicks and giveaways and marketing. And I was like, oh, you don't understand, like all of this, like, oh, I was really triggered by it.
Yeah.
But after that initial trigger, I kind of stood back and I'm like, why am I so triggered by this? What is it that's triggering me? And it was this realization that I had been like, before we hopped on, we spoke a little bit about shiny object syndrome. And I felt like I was down that rabbit hole and that rat race of popularity, vanity metrics, and just misaligned actions.
Yes.
Which then got me to the point of, is this what I'm really supposed to be doing? And that was a massive wake-up call for me. And that's when I was like, wait a second, I'm doing all of these things, thinking that I have to do all of these things to validate myself and to prove myself, to then eventually step into coaching and consulting, which is what I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So what happened to me at that point was really just like,
it's like that big, as people describe it, the aha moment. It's like that big wake-up call, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And for me, that meant sort of looking back at my whole life and all of the skills and experiences that I have developed over the years, and from such a young age working. I mean, when I was 18, I was traveling on business trips, representing companies, getting training.
Wow.
So I started my professional and personal development training at that age on an international level. So it was basically owning all of that. Like going back, opening the door, I closed my life, like I closed my career, I closed everything with it. I was like, wait a second, can I just go? I need to take those back because those are mine. And now using those skills, using those experience I have of like building teams, mentoring all my teammates, growing them, growing the business, sales, business relations, stakeholder relations, all of that, branding, sales, marketing, like just bringing all of that.
Isn't it? And I love that we're talking specifically today to like healers and coaches, because I think that comes up a lot. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. And we do exactly as you say, we bang the door on it. No, I want to be over here. I want to be learning more spiritual, more healing, more whatever that is, which is great. I'm not knocking that. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater is what we don't want to do. And that's what you're alluding to. We've shut the door on everything. And yeah, it's really insightful, because I think it also comes into that burnout and everything that people experience, the burnout, or I don't know what I'm doing, or where's my purpose. People quite often talk about their purpose a lot. And I was one of those people that's gone, I actually don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my why is. But now I'm like, it doesn't matter. I just know every day I want to be that little bit better than I was yesterday. And that's enough. It, people were going, you have to have a big why. It's like, but I don't. And that's okay. So I love that, opening that door. So one of the things, again, predominantly with coaches and healers, I hear a lot, and that's why we're talking about it today. It's like they're exhausted trying to create content after content after content, and then the content doesn't convert. So, what are your tips, insights, ahas, whatever we want to call them, to creating content that actually converts? Like, I mean, with all your experience, as you say, you've opened that door, you've brought back out all of that experience you've had for those years. Like, there's so much noise coming at us from all angles. So, what are your secrets to creating content that converts?
So when I'm working with my clients who are coming to me normally saying these kind of things like, oh, I don't know how to do marketing. I suck at marketing. I don't know like what content to create, etc., etc. The first part is exactly that part I just spoke about, owning your stuff. And that's an embodiment process. I think first coming into it, like, who am I? What are the skills? What are the strengths? What are the experiences that I have today that can help someone else?
Yes.
And in knowing that, like not just knowing that, but fully embodying that, it starts from there. It really starts from there, because oftentimes we don't believe we have everything we need, especially if you're a healer coming from the spirituality, wellness space. Oh, but I don't do marketing at business. I never did marketing at business, which is not true. We all somehow practice marketing and business in
Of
our
course,
every.
especially if you've ever had a job.
Number
You had
one.
to market yourself. Yeah.
Number two, when you're talking to someone so passionately about perhaps a retreat that you've been on, a teacher that you're a student of, a mentor that you're a student of, whatever, you pitch it with passion.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. This is the same thing. So that embodiment process, that owning what you have and looking in your toolbox, you're not. A lot of the clients I work with normally have multi-modalities. And so this is something they need to like also step away from. It's your modalities that your techniques that and you teach and you've qualified in and you're experienced in, that's not your niche. That's your toolbox.
Yes. I love that distinction. Yeah.
Because people think, oh, my niche is yoga. My niche is meditation. My niche is physiotherapy. No, these are like parts of your toolbox, part of your offering. So for me, the next stage is really understanding who you want to serve.
Yes.
Who you want to serve. Like, who is it? Forget about the demographics on how much money they have and how many children they have and what their name is and all of that jazz. Who do you really want to work with? What is the type of transformation you want to be providing? Yeah. When you understand that, and when you understand where your client is on that journey, it's easier to position yourself.
And it's more like you mentioned yoga, just for example, and it's one of the things in your toolbox. It's what does the yoga give them? What is it? It's that end thing that they want. Is it that they need to let go of stress, or they need to sleep better, or they need to exercise or lose weight? Yeah.
So exactly, when it comes to the next part is like, what is your solution, right? Yeah. People care about the modalities that you use, but they care more about the outcomes. People care about themselves. They don't care about how you're going to do it. They care about the results. They care about like, what's in it for me?
Yeah. The Witham effect. What's in it for me? Yeah, absolutely.
What's in it for me? And like, we have this misconception that like, people don't understand me. But it's not about understanding you. People buy from you and people choose to work with you when they feel understood.
when you understand them. 100%, absolutely. And when I like when you said, like, you know, the demographics, psychographics, and I actually do talk about that, but decide who you want to serve first, and then go and decide these kind of people, what kind of age group are they, what did that do it that way is much more heart aligned, I think is the word I'm trying to you, because there's no way known. There's certain people there is no way known I want to work with them. I wouldn't. They don't match me. I probably don't match them. So why would I? But when you get really clear on who it is that you help and the outcome they want. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned that, because I'm not disregarding that work, because that work is so important. This is like an inch wide, mile deep exercise. You can get stuck on it for years, but but if you're not going to take action, you're never going to be able to refine it.
Yes,
you're never going to be able to nail it. And this is the problem I see with most marketing courses out there, is that they obsess so much on finding your niche and identifying your ideal client's avatar that people get stuck on that because they can't figure it out.
Yeah.
If you don't take
action, it's good to have a bit of the basis, have a bit of an idea, do a bit of research, then start adventuring forward. That's what I did. Like, and I think I said this to you when you interviewed me. If you had have asked me 5 years ago, would I be teaching people video, I would have laughed in your face and went, no, I'll get somebody else to do that. Because it wasn't my thing, but I ventured forward and found, well, maybe that is something. So I learned that. And now it's all about video.
Absolutely.
But it was never a thing. So not being afraid, I suppose being flexible enough to not be afraid to change it either. To what
of course, like, because people get scared of, people are scared of getting it wrong. There's no such thing, because you as a professional, in the professional space, in the business space, you're going to evolve as the time passes anyway. Yesterday, actually, I shared about this. Like, when I got started, I attracted clients in my space pretty immediately within the first month and a half, from high-end private coaching clients to a group coaching thingy bob. But I went super hyper focused. I hyper focused, like, big time. I specifically went for yoga teachers who were experiencing the closures of the pandemic and all of that stuff. They were in over their heads, overwhelmed. The only solution that there was out there to continue maintaining their clients was to do it online. And then from there, the opportunities came. Did I only work with yoga teachers forever? No. From there, my audience started widening. But I got it. That's how I got in. I started working. I started monetizing. I started serving. It was all about serving and creating an impact.
Yeah. And so when we talk about creating content that converts, so getting to know who you're talking to, for me, it's also knowing where they're hanging out. Like, there's no point in trying to spread yourself so thin and being everywhere on social media. Yes, if you can, but if that's exhausting you, find out where they're mostly at. So what attracts them? Like, what kind of content? Now, I have my own idea how to do this, but from your perspective, what kind of content grabs their attention? How do you get content to grab their attention?
So for me, I follow a sort of very strategic process that is flexible and authentic. And it's, as I mentioned before, it's identifying the client journey that takes them from that initial. So let's say we're talking about a very cold audience, meaning that they don't know you, you haven't had any relationships before. It's going to take some time to push through that resistance to get them receptive to you. So you want to move them from that initial resistance to listening to you. And the way we do that is by actually, like, tapping and connecting to them emotionally, mentally, at a soul level, to say, like, oh, damn, like, Carmel really gets me. She knows what I'm going through. And it's that a thing I say, that people work with you, people buy from you, people listen to you when they feel heard and understood and seen by you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing when, and I'm sure you've heard it as well, a lot of coaches, a lot of entrepreneurs will say, oh, there's so many people doing that, for example, whatever that is for them, yoga. Yeah, there is, but none of them can do you. Not one. Like there's so many people, and video marketing has been around for years. There's so many people teaching different versions of video, but they're
Yes.
not teaching it exactly how I am. So my tribe will come to me because I know where they are and blah 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 and all of that sort of thing. So getting that initial connection with them
Mm-hmm.
relies then on doing that work before, as in what are some of the common problems so that you can start answering them. Is that what you mean?
Yep. Yep. So it's really about identifying their problems and their symptoms in the way that they see it.
Yes.
So that you say, okay, I know you're feeling that. I know you're saying that. I know you're thinking that. And then really giving them that aha moment of where is the real problem coming from.
Yes.
So a lot of the time it's like a silly example, but I have consistent headaches, frequent headaches. So solution might be paracetamol, could be one option, or aspirin, or whatever your drug may be. Or the real problem might be dehydration.
Yes.
Drink more
Yeah.
water. So,
Yeah.
but if your audience thinks that that's the solution, you need to open them up to more solutions as well. But
Mm.
then this comes as well with your positioning. And this your content is basically guiding that person through that journey, and it's shaping the beliefs of your audience. Your
Yeah.
content is influencing and shaping the beliefs so that you're getting them closer to taking action,
And
closer to
some,
calling.
yeah. And sometimes it's how do you say it? It's finding a different cause or solution to something that is the norm. So being a bit disruptive. The weight
Yeah.
loss industry is a fantastic example of that. So for many years it was fat was the enemy. Then for many years sugar was the enemy. And then it was like somebody came in from left field and said, no, no, no. What about if all these problems, which we know exist, are actually not your fault and they're caused by a hormone imbalance? And people are like, oh my God, could that be it? But the problems are the same. But when you're coming with a disruptor, nobody at one stage had ever heard that it might be the hormones. So they were going, oh, I'm having too much fat, I'm having too much sugar. It's actually just a different solution for the same problem.
Absolutely.
So, how can you change it or tweak it slightly that your solution is a little bit disruptive or a little bit different than what somebody else is offering?
Exactly. So in that case, I really want, if I'm the audience and I come across your content, I want you to see me and feel me and
Yes.
hear me. I want to be understood by you. And then at that point, I'm receptive to you because you see me and you feel
Yeah.
me, and I know that you get me. At that point, I'm more receptive to what you have to say. And then you drop the bomb that actually it's not all of that shit that you've been thinking, and all of those tireless diets and all of those crazy like fasting things, but actually we need to look at your hormones. And I'm like, oh wow, now you got me thinking, like, oh, this
Yeah.
makes so much sense. and
It's
now
so different. Yeah.
and now I have put you in my eyes as an expert in that
Yeah.
field.
1,000,000%. So also the content, the content itself we've talked about a little bit, but it's also about consistency, isn't it? Like, I mean, if you put an amazing post out and it ticks all those boxes, it talks to that person, makes them feel understood and everything, and then they don't see you for another 2 months,
You
they
lose
will forget
credibility.
about you. Yeah, but
not
they
only
will
not
forget about you too in 2 seconds flat.
So not only about that, the fact that you're not in their mind, let's say, but also, ooh, I think I've lost you.
I'm back. I don't know what happened there. I don't know.
And it's okay. And I'm like, is this a trick? Did she just like, is this, I'm supposed to continue talking and now
Yeah.
I'm full speed?
I don't know what happened. My internet has been a little bit sketchy today, so maybe that is what's happened. And yeah, I don't know, but that's okay. Continue
It's okay.
on.
So we're talking about consistency, and apart from the fact that you're not there in your audience's memory and mind, at the top of their mind, but also what this does to your long-term credibility and trust. We need to remember, especially in the online world, people are still skeptical.
Yes.
We're a skeptic race. So
Great
if you're
point.
going to go out there, there are two things to this. If you're going to go out there and like promote your course, promote your thing, and then run away for like not be seen for 1 month, what, like, how can I trust you with my money? How can I trust that you're
Yes.
going to be there to show up for the program that I paid, that starts in 1 month's time, or in a couple of weeks time, or
Yes.
in 3 months time? So keeping that consistency is really important for trust and credibility, which is again part of why people will work with you, because they view you as a credible source and a trustworthy expert in the field. And the second thing I want to say about that is that sometimes we put so much energy and pressure, so much expectation on one single post, even if it's nailed down, even if it's really nailed down, but we put so much pressure on that one post as though all the clients are going to flood in from that single video or that single post or that single email, whatever it is, right? And then we get so disappointed that we
get crickets. You don't hear anything. Yeah.
It's all about nurturing and building relationships. And I think this is, again, a misconception when we come to the online world. Just because it's online, we forget to humanize the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I love that.
Like any relationship, and any friendship, it requires nurturing. It requires consistency. It requires effort. Your business
and
is
it's
the
like
same.
being on the first date. You're not gonna, go overboard or whatever. It's like that. And where are you going to bring them for the second date? What are you going to experience on that? What do you want them to experience on that customer journey?
Mm-hmm.
And it is very important. But what I find is, a lot of people get bogged down. And look, I've been there myself and doing it in creating content and then posting. You're better creating quality content and posting a little bit less, not inconsistently, but a little bit less and where those people will see you. So what are your thoughts on, posting, say, let's take Facebook as an example, posting all over your main page, your personal page, versus groups versus your business page? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, you got cut out at one point.
So what are your thoughts on posting on your personal page, business page, or groups? Which are the more important, I guess?
Okay, so I think it really depends on your strategy.
Yes.
First of all, this really depends on how you're nurturing your audience through that client's journey, right? So, for example, I'll give you a very basic social media strategy, which works for many, not for everyone, but for many. On Facebook, it's like your profile is the front porch, your front door. Let's say this is where you're waving down people in the road. You're saying hey to your neighbors, and maybe you're also gathering in your patio on your porch. And this is like the first sort of meeting point. And your group, your personal group, is where you could be nurturing your people. You may be delivering higher value, more nurturing sort of content in there, more training. And this is sort of like the backyard, like your garden in the backside. You have the barbecue going, the music playing, friends chilling, everyone's networking and talking and participating. So out of those two, which it depends, and then there are third-party groups. So third-party groups as well are important for if you decide to use that as part of your strategy, as long as the people in that group are actually people who are interested in your stuff, right? So honestly speaking, what I would do is have my main profile as my main sort of content output, and then repurpose and reuse parts of that in all of the other places. So I'm not recreating all the time, but I'm being present in various places.
Yeah, I love that. And that, look, I do use that strategy, as in my main Facebook page is where people get to know me, but then we cipher them off. But I just want to hone in on what you said is reuse and repurpose. People forget to do that. You can make 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute video. You can do a Facebook Live. You can do whatever. You can do an interview like this. You can repurpose this. We could take this interview now and splice and dice it up into 2 or 3 minute chunks. We could transcribe it and take quotes out of it, put it on a nice quote card in Canva. From one piece, one video, actually, the guy I interviewed, a guy about YouTube, how to monetize your YouTube channel. And he said there's 49 different ways to actually repurpose one piece of content.
And 49 pieces of content. And this can go on so many times.
And another thing I want people to really get, don't do like I used to do and think, oh, I've already posted that. You need to post it 3 or 4 times in different places for people to actually get the message. Remember, we've got reams and reams of stuff coming at us every day with something like 4 million bits of information hitting us in the face. And it's the repetition, the same messaging. And that's why it's so important that you get to really know who you're talking to, because then you become the expert on yoga or the expert on videos or the expert on whatever that is. You're always talking about it. So there's no illusion when they say, there's Carmel, the video lady, or there's Hannah, the marketing expert. They know exactly what you stand for. So don't be afraid. I used to go, I put that on my own page. I better not put it up onto my group page for another 5 or 6 days in case the same people see it. It's like, so what?
So what is better? It's better. I think we need to hear something or see something like 7 times. I think it could be 12 now, because our consumption of information is huge. I think we need to hear or see something like 7 or 12 times before it actually like sinks in. So don't be afraid of repetition, and it also establishes that authority positioning, and that's how you stand out. That's how you become known.
And people again forget, like some stuff, I don't know about you, some stuff comes up in my memories, or obviously I've saved my content and I go, oh my God, that was really good post. And you can post it again, or you can break that one down into little bits and expand on it. And you can also find who is it that you admire and has your audience. So, you go to marketing people, you say, there's some of my audience. You look at what they're sharing, especially if they're the big expert gurus, and you take that idea and you massage it into your own. Now, I'm not talking about plagiarizing. I'm not talking about copying, nothing like that. But if they're talking, say, about habits, and you know something about habits, then that triggers, hey, that's what people are interested in. Let me talk about that and my version of it. I think I did a live the other day on mindset for that reason. Go ahead.
Yeah, which takes me to another point, which is really key in content creation and in terms of attracting and connecting to your ideal clients: storytelling.
Yes.
Storytelling is
and
so
there's parts in the story. What are the parts in the story? Tell us what's the parts in the story.
So there are various approaches to this, but even when it comes to sharing your own story, sharing your own journey, for those of you who are familiar with Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, taking that approach and sharing your story in that way is so powerful. And if you really want to position yourself as a leader, as an expert in the industry, showing people the journey that you went through yourself, all of the obstacles that you had to endure to come to where you are today on the other side in this bliss state. Wherever that may be for you, right? And I mean, let's all be very honest. I mean, the journey is never quite over, but we go through many of these micro journeys in our lifetime. And there's nothing more powerful in a leader, in a guide, to look into the eyes of your audience and say, babe, I have been exactly where you are today. I have walked the road. I have overcome the obstacles. Take my hand. Let me guide you through. There's nothing more powerful and integral and authentic and effective and just yes, help me. Like, yes,
Yes,
I
yeah.
really want to get to the other side. Show me how, show me the way.
And human beings have an undisclosed, if you like, or they don't even realize they have it. We have an undeniable need to be led. We actually do. We have this inside us somewhere, is the I'm not good enough or version of that, or oh my God, why will anyone believe me? Whatever language you have around holding yourself back. So for somebody, as you described, Hannah, to say, come with me, take my hand, and I'll just take you here, is super powerful, because we have this need to be rescued. We want somebody to just rescue us out of that little bit of quagmire. Even the most successful people and the Richard Bransons of this world, or the Russell Brunsons, or whoever, will tell you that. And we tend to not believe them because we see them as gurus or successful now. And we're going, oh my God. It's like me with my parents years ago. I remember my dad used to always say, when I was young, in my head, my little voice used to say, you were never young. You were born old. But the truth was, he had been young. He had struggled with stuff. And he probably did have insight into what I was struggling with, whatever it was at the time. But I didn't believe him, because I saw him as my dad, this successful man, this whatever. So how could I? So when
Mhm.
successful people tell us the journey they've been on, sometimes we tend to not necessarily believe them, unless they do exactly as you've said. They speak our language and take the time to let us know that they do understand us. So yeah, stories are so, so powerful. So we could talk forever about this, I'm sure. Tell me, so that just means there may be another interview. So tell me about, and obviously this is my area of expertise now, but I'm just curious as to your insight into the difference now in using video in your marketing. What's the power in that from your perspective?
Good question. Something I avoided for some time, and I really had to like work my way through my own chit chat
Yeah.
and
Stop it. Who's going to see you? Yeah.
for me there's nothing, it's so powerful, it's such a powerful way to really get to know that person. So if I come across your profile, I would naturally start looking, or your website or whatever, I start looking for video content,
Yeah.
because I want to get an essence of who you are. I want to see how you behave, how you talk. I want to know, like, do I like her accent?
Yeah.
Can I understand? Can I
Accent?
understand?
What accent? What are you talking about?
Can I understand? There
Yeah.
are some people I find it very difficult to understand them, and I mean it's okay, it's
Mm.
fine. But that's I want to see their behavior. I want to feel their energy. I want to hear the way they speak beyond the text, because text, anyone can write a beautiful post.
Yes.
Who knows
Yes.
what copywriter is writing whose content these days?
Yeah.
A lot
Oh,
of the big,
exactly right. And
a lot of the
sometimes it's
big gurus,
automated. Yeah.
exactly. A lot of the big
Yeah.
gurus have copywriters. Um, Sometimes I don't get the essence, and rather, like, if I watch their video, I can really connect with them on a different level, and then that will help me make a decision. Yes, I want to be in
Yeah.
this person's space. Yes, I want to dive a little bit more into this person's work. Yes, I want to sign up to that next masterclass, or dive into their program, because it
Yeah.
feels like a really good hit. Then yeah, for me it's through video. Nothing
Yeah.
beats that.
I think it has changed. It's always been there. Video's been around for many, many years. And it was definitely, I think it's 3 or 4 years ago, I really started focusing on it a little bit more. So it was definitely up and coming. But I think in these last 2 years, where everybody has been forced onto these kind of calls, that a lot of people, one of the first things I did at the very beginning of COVID was make 3 videos. One was how to set up a Zoom account, how to go into Facebook Live on Zoom, and how to do breakout rooms. Because all my clients were going, I don't even have a Zoom account. I don't know how to do it. How do I do that? So it forced people onto Zoom that never were before. And now they're more inclined to go, yeah, I'll do an online meeting. Next thing you know, I'll do one in Kathmandu and I'm in Australia. Hang on, I'll do one maybe in America. It has opened up the world, but in a way that know, like, and trustability, it's easier when you can see them on the screen. As we talked about, I think the other day on our call, it's like if I had to sit in my hands, I wouldn't be able to talk at all. But people can see that, they can feel the essence. Another example I quite often give my clients when they go, oh, but I'm just like everyone else. And I'm going, hang on, if I was to cut you open and see caramel in there, like I'll find blood, guts, and in my case, a little bit of fat, a big bit of fat. But you'll find liver, kidneys, organs, all this. But you'll never find caramel in there, just like you'd never find Hannah. It's an essence, it's a feeling, it's a sensation, it's a whatever, it's a presence.
Yeah.
So that comes across in video in a much more powerful way than just writing, as you say, maybe. And good copywriters can write as if they are you. I get that.
Yes.
But it is a difference, for sure.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yes, that's for sure. There was something that was gonna come to me and it just slipped away, but it's okay.
Sorry, I probably
No,
so
okay.
Overall, let's just recap. So overall, particularly for coaches and healers, is decide on who, like the solution that you have and who you're going to help the most. Think about where they are and the biggest problems they have, and start reaching out to that problem so that they start seeing, hearing, or videoing you. Yeah. Is that what we're saying in essence? I know it's a very small snapshot.
In essence, yes. I don't want to put so much focus only on the problems, because I think when we focus too much on the problems, it puts our audience in that lack. But I also like to talk to people's desires.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that activates something in your audience, and that activates me to actually want something different, to realize that this is not serving me anymore.
And that's a great, I'm glad you brought that up, because I do talk about problem desires and everything. So one thing I have found with some people was they go, well, what do you mean by desires? So give us an example of how you mean by, when you say desires, tap into their desires.
It depends on who your ideal client is, obviously. For example, my ideal clients would be that they want to be able to create content with flow and with ease. They want to come across as, they want to be authentic. They don't want to have to feel icky about the whole thing, right? The desires are beyond that, because if they are moving with flow and ease in their business, then they are fulfilled. They have more time to actually serve. They're not spending 8 hours a day on social media. These are the long-term desires. We want to, if your clients are, if you're a relationship coach, for example, and your clients are struggling in their relationships, they're not feeling heard, they're always feeling misunderstood, there's always conflict. What are their desires? A peaceful, loving, intimate relationship.
Yes. Yeah. They want to, quite often, their deepest desire is they want to feel at peace and be happy.
Yes.
Quite often. And even I find is to get their language around, how do they describe that? Because quite often people say happy. It's like, well, what is happy to you? Yeah, what is happy to you? Because happy to you would be different than happy to me.
Yeah.
How do you know? So it's really staying in discovery, and start asking questions when people say, what you don't say what's your deepest desire, because quite often people go, what do you mean? I don't know. But when you say, what is it you want? And they'll say, well, I want to be happy, or I want to X, Y, and Z, and dig a little deeper.
What does it look like?
That's how you get to their deeper desires. And you're right. I don't always focus on the problem, but focusing on what they think they want is not always what they need.
No.
but you have to give them what they want first.
Yes. And I think just for everyone listening here today, we oftentimes try to do all of this exercise by ourselves behind our desk. Stop doing that. Get out there, have conversations. Like, you can't just assume things. You can't
Yes.
assume things because your assumptions are based on your own experiences and your
Yeah.
own view of the world and your own beliefs. Get out there, have conversations with people.
Yeah. And if you can't get out there and have them, get online, get into
As in,
networking groups online. Yeah. And get into
as in
groups.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah. Online,
Join the
offline.
cause. And another way to do it is search for what it is you think that your ideal client will be searching for on YouTube. See somebody that has, made a video about it or whatever, but look at the comments underneath. The same in the groups that you're in. Look at the comments because they'll tell you. They'll tell you what they're asking for. They'll go, oh yeah, well, that was a great point, but this is what I'm really struggling with. Cool. Make a post or a video. I highly encourage you to make it a video because they're more searchable, but make a post or a video that answers that bloody question.
Exactly.
It really can be as easy as that when you're really hyper focused. So as I said, we could talk forever. So Hannah, tell me, if people, I know you had a Facebook group, so if people wanted to get in contact with you, first and foremost, I'm just going to put up on the screen, this is your Facebook handle. Is that the right URL?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'm showing my age by saying handle of CB radio times. So this is where they can find you. A bit like me, if you just search your first and last name, pretty unique, they will find you. Yes. And from there, you also have a Facebook group. Tell us a little bit about your Facebook group.
So my Facebook group, you can see in the URL, it's called Align Digital Marketing, but actually the name has changed since then. I just kept the same URL for search purposes wherever I left that link. It's embodied marketing for soulful coaches. So here is really where I talk about anything social media marketing related, organic marketing related, content creation, mindset, entrepreneurship, everything that falls under the whole experience of being a solo, soul-led entrepreneur in this day and age. So my specialty is organic marketing, predominantly in content creation, but also in terms of coaching and mentorship through the whole process, through the whole journey.
Cool. Awesome. I love it. I love it. So guys, contact Hannah or jump into Hannah's group as well, and make sure that you keep on top of what she's doing because she's doing some amazing stuff and she's got some awesome secrets and insights to share with you too. So Hannah, it's been amazing having you. As I said, I'm pretty sure that we're going to dig a little bit deeper and have some more interviews maybe at a later date. But for now, thank you so much for joining me. It's been my honor to have you here.
Thank you so much. And best wishes to everyone listening. Thank you for watching.
That's awesome. You're very welcome. And guys, remember, if you're watching this on social media, type in your questions or give us a heart or a thumbs up. You're on YouTube, or even if you're not on YouTube, hop over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button so that you can get more of these interviews too. But for now,